More than 100 years ago, a message was flashed across the land, and faces began to appear. Crowds began to form. Something new was coming to town. Something new in transportation. Unlike the horse and wagon, it followed rails instead of trails. It was a train. The new iron horse pumped out steam and puffed black smoke, but its clanking wheels relentlessly powered it over the continent. And everywhere it went, it was greeted enthusiastically by the citizenry, for it meant the answer to one of their biggest problems, transportation. The coming of the train meant at last that travelers could go from one place to another faster and with greater assurance. 100 years later, a new message is flashed to a new populace, a populace that has grown with leaps and bounds and is still growing and still has a problem that increases in intensity, transportation.
Hey, Dad, look at the Turbotrain.
In the summer of 1971, another new train sped across the land. It had no rumble, it had no roar. Except for its horn and its whistle, it was very quiet. It looked somewhat like an airplane without wings. It was the Turbotrain. It is a comfortable train with an interior like that of a jetliner.
I just love the Turbotrain. I find it very comfortable, very clean. I love the decor, and I love the speed.
The coaches have soft reclining seats, carpeting throughout, year-round air-conditioned climate control, fold-down tables at each seat. On the tour, the Turbotrain was equipped with an 8-track stereo system featuring 90 musical selections of all types. The passengers tuned in a selection and watched the beautiful scenery go by. The tour of the Turbo was sponsored by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, or Amtrak as it is called, and Sikorsky Aircraft, division of United Aircraft, builders of the train. One of the purposes of the trip was to find out what passengers thought of the train.
Well, hello, everybody. I never thought I'd be on a turbo. Oh, you get to see everything as you roll along. It's perfect air conditions. It's just wonderful. And coloring on this train is the very latest in colors. The walls are in cloth material with the grays and the browns and the yellows and the golds, and the seats are just exquisite. All the luggage you want to carry, you're able to carry is up there. Then again, they have movies just like they do on the 747 or any aircraft. The people on it are so wonderful, so courteous, so nice, and it's just wonderful, that's all.
Early in the trip, the phenomenal public interest in the train was indicated by the large crowds that gathered in the cities where the train stopped. The month-long journey began on August the 11th, when the train glided out of its maintenance facility in Providence, Rhode Island. The train was utilized as a special section of a regular revenue train until it reached Washington. This was the first of 6 such runs. Amtrak and DOT wanted to find out what paying passengers thought of the train, as well as what guests thought of it.
Hey, man, this train is cool. I love it.
I'm absolutely sold on the Turbotrain. I think it has a very smooth ride and it's very attractive. I especially like the trays that come down.
As the train progressed on its journey, the crowds grew larger. People from all walks of life came out to see it. The young, the not so young, the famous and the humble. They all were avidly interested in this new machine. In many places, entire classes of school children were brought out to see the train. One of the many new features of the Turbotrain is its pendulous banking suspension system. This makes the train bank inward instead of outward on curves, enabling the Turbotrain to round curves with passenger comfort and safety at speeds up to 40% faster than regular trains. Another new and important feature is the train's power plant. Aircraft-type gas turbine engines, which turn gears instead of propellers, form the heart of this system. These engines are small, lightweight, and clean-burning. In many places, there were official ceremonies held to greet the Turbotrain. Amtrak and DOT officials received keys to a number of cities. In one city, even a pet lion came out to see the train. Television newsmen were also present at each stop. They recorded the visit of the Turbo with interviews with passengers, spectators, and officials. The Turbotrain attracted thousands of photographers, both professional and amateur.
Well, it's been a real nice ride from Winter Haven down to Sebring. It's been a very smooth ride. I think this is really the train of tomorrow that we're on now.
The Turbotrain traveled clockwise around the nation, down the East Coast, through Florida, and back to Atlanta. Then it headed west. It traveled across the southern half of the country, then through California, up the Pacific coast to Washington, then across the northern tier of states. In the Chicago area, it made several demonstration runs to surrounding cities that formed transportation corridors in the Midwest. Finally, it returned home through Ohio and New York State. Passengers enjoyed the beautiful scenery in different parts of the country. And always the crowds appeared.
I'm also impressed by the enthusiasm in which the people along the line of march with the train have accepted it, and their eagerness to come aboard and inspect it, and it shows that the people are still interested in train passenger service.
The train that went on tour is one of two that were built as part of the U.S. Department of Transportation's high-speed ground transportation demonstration program. These two trains, leased by the department from Sikorsky Aircraft, were placed in regular service between Boston and New York in April of 1969. They quickly proved themselves to be very popular with the traveling public. Although the train was operated at conventional track speeds for each segment of track covered on the tour, it has reached 170 miles an hour on a special test track in New Jersey. There, a 21-mile stretch of the Penn Central's main line between Trenton and New Brunswick was modified for high-speed testing. The train was operated at 157 miles an hour on standard jointed rail in Massachusetts in a test run. With the appropriate signal systems, the train could easily operate at speeds above 100 miles an hour in many parts of the country without extensive track work. On any track, with the banking suspension system and fast acceleration and braking, the Turbotrain can significantly improve the service available with conventional equipment.
The Department of Transportation was interested in participating in this joint tour of the Turbotrain with Amtrak in order to make an engineering assessment of recent modifications to the gearbox, the ride quality, and noise improvement of the Turbotrain. In addition, we wanted to determine how the train reacted on different track structures, grades, various terrains, and weather conditions than that experienced in the Northeast Corridor. It might be interesting to point out that the traveling public responded very well to this train. They liked the concept of the fold-down food trays at the seats, having the stewardess on board, and the aircraft-type interior. As a result of the tour and the response we received from the public, we are very encouraged that this type of equipment can truly bring people back to the rail in the future in those corridors that are non-electrified. It might be interesting to point out at this time that some 90% of our passenger corridors throughout the country are non-electrified.
Very interested in co-sponsoring this tour for one very significant reason. We wanted to get the reaction to the general public to a new piece of equipment. A new piece of rail equipment, by the way, has not been seen around the country for many, many years. And let me tell you now, we were not disappointed one bit. Hundreds of thousands of people turned out to see that train. 150,000 people actually walked through the train, and 7,000 people rode the train from one point to another. And there was one other very significant thing, at least from my standpoint. For the first time in years, there were traffic jams at the train stations. And one other thing, a lot of people saw a train station for the first time. And to us here at Amtrak, this was all very, very refreshing.
The train starts up the western side of the Continental Divide. Even in the mountains, the photographers showed up to take pictures of the train.
Wouldn't you rather wear a smile than a frown? 232 and you Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We wish to inform you that we have reached our maximum altitude of 6,329 feet.
Trains in the Eastern Corridor could be the #1 mode of transportation if the kind of accommodations we have on this particular train were common. These interiors are comfortable, the ride is very good. The airline seating, which provides a little tray to work on or to read or put your article, is a decided advantage to the traveler. I would hope that all trains in the future would provide this kind of setting. I think the view and the decor is very exciting and very progressive, and I look forward to more trains like this one.
I've been a transportation buff for years, but I've never seen anything as exciting and innovative as Turbotrain. It combines all the fine points and comfort of air travel with the stability and dependability of service travel. Turbotrain has taken all of the worries and anxiety of highway traffic out of modern, fast travel. You can enjoy the great stereo that we've heard today and movies. You have all the comforts and none of the cares that have concerned travelers for so many years.
Political leaders, including senators and governors, came out to visit and ride the Turbotrain as it passed through their areas.
This Turbotrain tour is one of the great interesting events of the development of Amtrak and of the DOT high-speed train operation. I think that it's clear to everyone who is involved that our highways are overcrowded, our skies are overcrowded, and the only thing that we have left ready to develop is expanded rail service. It is the one area of transportation that is underdeveloped today. We have the high-speed highways of the future already built. They're the rail tracks that exist today.
Everywhere the train went, people came out to see it. They viewed it from overpasses, from the roadside, from schoolyards. They even chased the train by boat, by car, and even by airplane. 4 weeks after it began, the Turbotrain tour ended exactly on time at 9:50 p.m. on September the 8th. The train had traveled more than 12,000 miles over more than half of Amtrak's network. It visited 134 cities in 28 states and the District of Columbia. Untold hundreds of thousands of Americans came out to see it. That was the tour of the Turbo, summer 1971.
If things don't go